let's go ahead and get started. Today we are doing Chapter 5, Lessons 6 and 7, which are adding and subtracting linear expressions. Our learning goal is that students will be able to simplify algebraic expressions using like terms. Make sure to write down all of this. This is an important lesson that we're going to be going over. And there are quite a few problems, but it's to get that practice and that repetition in. So make sure to write absolutely everything down. This is very important, okay? You don't have to write this part down, but this is just a preview of what you're getting for 8th grade. In 8th grade, you are going to be learning y equals mx plus b. And this year, what we are learning is the mx plus the b. But you're going to see it as a number with an x plus or minus another number. So, for example, 3x minus 4. Okay? That's going to be this part, the mx plus or minus the b. 3x minus 4 is an example of that. Okay, so that's what we are getting. We are simplifying expressions to be a number next to an x or a variable, and then plus or minus another number. Okay, so how we are doing that is we want to make sure always that we have an addition sign here. We will get to some that have subtraction signs, but you're going to need to change them to addition, and we'll talk about how you do that once we get to that point. But the first thing first is check to make sure we have an addition sign in the middle. Okay, so make sure that there is an addition sign in the middle, and then we can go ahead and get started. Okay, so we've got 2x plus 3 and then x plus 1. I like to draw my x's and my negative x's, and then I like to draw for my numbers positive signs or negative signs for negative numbers. So for this problem, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write 2 x's, and then I'm going to put an x over here for this x. So 2 x's for this 2x, and 1x for this 1x. For these 3, I'm going to put 3 plus signs for the 3 positives. I'm going to put 1 plus sign for this 1 positive. And then my answer, I'm going to add all of them together. So 2x's plus 1x, that gives me 3x's total. And 3 positive signs plus 1 positive sign gives me 4 positive signs. I'm going to keep my plus sign in the middle. So 3x plus 4 is my final answer for this problem. Okay, for this one, we're going to need to do the distributive property first. 10 times x gives me 10x. 10 times 2 gives me 20. We're going to bring down that subtraction sign. Okay, so now we're going to do just what we did with the last problem. I've got 10 x's, so I'm going to draw 10 x's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 6 x's over here. 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm going to draw 20 negative signs because I'm going to change, this can be, subtracting is the same thing as adding a negative. So this is like saying we are adding 20 negatives here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's my 20 negative signs. Over here, I've got 6 negatives. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So for my answer, I'm going to put all these together. So I've got 10 x's over here plus 6 x's over here. That gives me 16 total x's. Plus, remember to bring down your plus sign, I've got 20 negatives here and I've got 6 negatives here. So total, I have 26 negatives. Okay? All right, so here I've got 4 negative x's, so negative 4x, and 3 positives, and 2 negative x's over here, and 8 positives. Okay, so together I have a total of 6 negative x's, and I have a total of 8 plus 3 gives me 11. So negative 6x plus 11. So here I've got negative 4x's plus 15. So negative 4x's I know it seems like a lot to write, but this will be super helpful in just a minute. I've got 5 for this 5 positives, and I've got 3 negatives. Now, when you have negatives and positives, you want to cancel them out. One positive cancels out with one negative, and one negative x cancels out with one positive x. So I've got a negative x and a positive x. So for every negative x, I'm going to cancel out with a positive x. So I'm left with 11 x's total, 11 positive x's. I'm going to cancel out a positive with a negative with a negative, and a positive with a negative, and I'm left with 3 positives. I drew one too many positive signs over here. Sorry, I just realized that. So we're left with 2 positives. So 11x plus 2 is our final answer. Some of you are going to be able to look at this and not have to draw it out. However, drawing out is going to get you the answer 100% of the time. Okay? When we do this in our head, sometimes it's not as easy to see. But if you can separate this out to where you are saying negative 4x and you are adding 15 to that, and then the positive 5 and you are adding negative 3 to that, if you can separate it out and find an easier way to show your work, I'm fine with that. But just know that you can always come back to this way of drawing out your answers. It's easiest for me to see it when I can draw it all out. I'm a visual learner, so seeing all of those x's and those positive signs and negative signs, they make it really easy for me. Okay, so now we've got 2x plus 4 minus a negative x plus 5. So we've got a minus sign here, so we need to change this to an addition sign. And when we do that, we have to change both signs of this second phrase here, okay? So this negative x becomes a positive x, and this positive 5 becomes a negative 5. So now we've got 2 x's and 1 positive x over here, and we've got 4 positives, and we've got 5 negatives. Okay, so now we've got 2 x's plus another x that gives us 3 x's total. And we've got 4 positives and 5 negatives. Remember, when we have a positive and a negative, they cancel each other out. And we are left with 1 negative. Okay? So the hardest part, in my opinion, is changing the negative, changing the sign of the second numbers. But aside from that, once you draw things out, it becomes pretty easy. Change the subtraction sign to addition, and then change the sign of your second numbers. So this positive 7x becomes a negative, and this negative 1 becomes a positive. So now we've got 6 x's and 9 positives. 6, 7, 8, 9. And negative 7 x's. Okay, and then 1 positive. Okay, so I need to cancel out my positives with my negatives. So I'm left with 1 negative x, and I've got a total of 10 positives. Okay, we'll make this our last problem for today. So again, I need to change my subtraction sign to a plus sign, and I need to change the sign of my second numbers. So this positive 6 becomes a negative 6, and this negative 8 becomes a positive 8. So I have 9 positives. 9. I have 5 positive numbers. I have 6 negatives. Negative x's, sorry. And I've got 8 positives. Okay, so now I want to cancel out my positives with my negatives. So I'm left with 2 positive x's. And then I've got 5 positives here, and I've got 8 positives here. So I've got a total of 13 positives. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you tomorrow.